And we're live. Hello, guys.
Hey, Anna and Klaus here from Apparel Entrepreneurship. Anna and Klaus. And the last two times we accidentally matched our shirts. So we thought, hey, why not? Let's do this. Let's go all in. So we're gonna, from now on, we're gonna do the matching thing.
Yes.
So yeah,
It's no accident today.
Today is no accident. I'm even matching my lipstick.
Oh, yeah, very nice.
So good to have you here, guys. We are Anna and Klaus from Apparel Entrepreneurship. We are in Stockholm, Sweden. And today's topic is going to be something that's really interesting for many of you because there's loads of fairs going on now. So today's topic is going to be fabric sourcing. There's been a couple of fabric fairs already. There's more to come. And so we thought, why not? You guys have sent in a lot of questions. So we thought, why not prepare you as much as possible for your fair so you can source amazing materials. And also so you can, even if you don't source for now, for the collection that you have, just so you have materials so you can educate yourself more for future collections.
And also, if you're in the US on the East Coast, there's a fair coming up on Monday and Tuesday in New York, and Anna's going to be there.
Yes.
So it's a topic we're going to address today.
Yes.
And we have received some questions also about it, and we are addressing those in what we're going to talk about today.
Yes. And so first of all, why some of the questions like, okay, do I really need to go to a fabric fair? Can't I source from home or from my studio, or can't my manufacturer source? Well, yes, we do think that you should absolutely go to fabric fairs. First of all, for inspiration, because there's so many things happening. The industry is moving so fast. The material innovation is happening constantly, so you definitely need to stay on top of what's going on and what the latest innovations are. And also just to keep in mind, sometimes you get inspired even by the material. So you're thinking, oh, I didn't plan for this material. Maybe it's something I can do with this. And also you get to talk to suppliers and to see expert talks. Many of the fairs, I would almost say almost all fairs, have seminars, workshops, and you can attend those. Those are for free. Most of the fairs are also free. You get to register for free on their website, and then when you go, you just get your pass and you enter, and you can stay 1-2 days, however long the fair is for, and how depends on what your needs are as well.
And of course, it's time efficient. I mean, it takes time contacting different suppliers all the time. So just having them all in one place, it's obvious. It saves you a lot of time just going there, and you can meet one, and 5 minutes later you go to the next one, and it's easy for you to compare different fabrics from different suppliers.
Yeah, and then you go, if you're like myself, I cannot see, there's many online fabric suppliers, but I need to feel, I need to do the stretching, I need to compare, I need to see how see-through it is, I need to see the texture. It's all in the hands, and that's also how you get to learn a lot about materials. When you feel, when you compare, when you kind of pull, you're looking at the structure, you're looking at the texture, you're looking at the print, how it is done, the face side, the back side, just to get accustomed to the different materials and the weights, and just get a sense of it. That's the only thing that you can do to learn. You can't see and learn about the feel and the sense of it. You need to grab it, and you need to actually feel them. And then also when you discuss with suppliers, of course, they can help you out with what it is that you need to source. But first of all, before you're going, why are you going? What is the objective? Are you going for inspiration? Awesome. Or are you going to actually source? Then that's great. So preparation is key. I would not recommend you to go to a fabric fair and just like, oh, I happen to enter. Oh, okay, I'm just going to stroll around. That would be a waste of your time. And also, you wouldn't get what you need to get, and you wouldn't bring or order things that you might eventually need. So it wouldn't be a good idea just to, go without preparing. So how do you prepare? What is it that you want to achieve? What product types do you want to source for? Is it pants? Is it, I don't know, yoga tops? Is it dresses? Is it, what type of product first do you want to make?
And sorry, and just what you want them to do. What's the performance? Should they be breathable? Should they be stretchy? Should you be able to move in them? Yeah, sorry.
Exactly. Just what is the product supposed to do? And then it's okay. What is the weight? If you know the rough weight, what is the rough price? All these things are really important to kind of have a rough idea. If you don't know, you can also bring competitor garments with you. Just bring competitor garments, and when you enter the booth, talk to the suppliers. You're like, hello, my name is da-da-da, my brand is da-da-da, and then you explain what your concept is. You explain what the product that you intend to make, what it's supposed to do, and then you might show them the competitor garment or a swatch that you have cut from a pair of pants or whatever you have in your house, and be like, this is roughly it. This is kind of what I'm looking for. But if you have something that's a bit more stretchy, that's a bit heavier, or I would like something like this, but I want it waterproof, do you have what do you have? What can you recommend? And then they might ask you, okay, so what's your intended target price for the product? Then they would have a vague idea. Okay, then they can help you out. They'd be like, oh, well, don't look at that material because it's way too expensive for your price range. Maybe you could look at these instead. And so they definitely help you out. Plus, ask tons of questions. It doesn't matter how you might think your questions are stupid. There are no stupid questions. And again, since the industry is moving so fast, you have to keep asking and keep learning. And also when you go, because we've had this happening a couple of times, you might think that it wouldn't be possible, but when you go to a fabric fair, you need to have business cards.
And an important thing is have your address, physical address on them, because what you're going to do at the fabric fair, you're going to ask for samples. So the suppliers, they're going to send them to you. And if you don't have this address on, they have nowhere to send it. And a second thing is also, it's good to have, if you're all just a beginner and starting out, see to that you have a registered business, because many suppliers, they don't work with you unless you have a business. So they just work business to business. So that's also important. So you have the registered business and your business card with your physical address.
And some of you are startups. We would recommend not mentioning that you are a startup. You could kind of be like, yeah, I've already done this for a couple of seasons, but we do not recommend you to go there and be like, yeah, I'm thinking of maybe potentially starting something. And they're like, so what do you need? Well, I don't know. It's like when you go, and especially when you enter a booth, you need to know what you're looking for. You need to be prepared. You need to be professional. You need to have your pitch sorted out and your product, what your intended product, what it's supposed to do. And also, before you go, check online what type of suppliers there are. See if you can prepare even beforehand, or even if you can set up a meeting with them beforehand. Because the more you prepare, some suppliers are really, really busy, and they might only have 1-2 sales guys with them at the booth. And if they're fully booked all day, you're not going to be able to get their help. So if it's a supplier that you absolutely crucially that you need to meet and get in touch with, then make sure you book a meeting, even if it's 15 minutes, even if you're like, I can come back. When can I see you again? Can I see you tomorrow? It's something that it's really good to do. And also it makes you know beforehand what your time schedule is, who to see, when to see everything. And maybe you pack in your meetings in the morning, and then you've got some browsing and some inspiration to do in the afternoon, but you're not getting all stressed out because you're going everywhere and nowhere, and you don't know who to meet, why to meet them. And you, or the worst, that you end up afterwards realizing, oh shit, I should have met with these suppliers, but I didn't book a meeting and I didn't go see them. Damn, half year left till the next fair. So it's a good idea to actually go there. And
I just want to mention, I mean, you mentioned it's good to know your price. And okay, how do you know your price? So you have to look into your price strategy before you go, what your intended retail price is. And then you can back, and also the margin that you want on your products. And that way you can backwards engineer. You can use like a costing sheet to do this. You can also use a product price matrix where you look at your entire collection and see what type of fabrics you will reuse for different products. And then you can calculate backwards, you know how much you can afford to make the product. And of that, how much can the fabric cost. And also, if you're a member, you can use the calculators that we have in the member zone that you can easily just figure out backwards how much it will cost. And this will help you, of course, because there's so many fabrics at a fair. So just to narrow down the search, okay, this is my price span that I can afford. This is what I'm looking for, and let the supplier know this would help you a lot.
And also this helps you to not be overwhelmed. Let's say you're going to, I mean, one of the biggest fairs, Premiere Vision, you've got Texwork coming soon, and they're so big. Like there's aisles and aisles and aisles of suppliers, and you might get there and you're like, oh, where should I start? Because it's just too much stuff, too much to look at. It's just, so it's very easy to get overwhelmed. Even if you've been in a business for a while, it's still, even myself, when I go, I still can get overwhelmed if I'm not well prepared. And if I know I've got a tight schedule, then my focus is super narrow. I'm not even looking because I'm just going and I'm getting exactly what I'm needing.
I think we should address also, we're receiving a lot of questions about how to order smaller quantities, because a lot of the suppliers, of course, they have MOQs, minimum order quantities, and usually they're quite high. So how do you do this? And there are a couple of easy ways. You can ask for stock fabric. You can ask for leftover dead stock that they have and see what they have in color. And you can, of course, ask if it's possible to pay a surcharge. Usually you can, even if they have a certain amount, there's the minimum order quantity. You can ask for a lower quantity, but then you have to pay a surcharge. But especially when you're starting out, it can absolutely be worth it just to be able to make your products. Maybe you have to take a bit of your margin, but as I said, it can absolutely be worth it.
Or at least to check with them what the minimum, because even when some you can pay or order sample meters, and then that this costs slightly more, you have to pay a surcharge. But then most of the time their minimum would be, let's say, like a roll. And then your next question is, okay, so how much is a roll? A roll, of course, it depends on the thickness and whatever the material is. So a roll might be 40 meters. Then you're like, oh, okay, that's all right. Then at least you know that 40 meters, even if you're going to need 30 meters, then you know, okay, 10 meters left, it's fine, instead of having 400 meters or 1,000 meters. So at least you know how much is their minimum.
Yeah, and another thing you can do also is, I mean, it doesn't really affect the supplier, but you can look at your collection and see, are there fabrics that you can consolidate and reuse? I mean, do you really need different fabrics for every garment in your collection, especially when you're starting out? Look at that. Can you reuse colors? And that way you can get more out of the roll that you have to order.
And also sometimes you can ask them, this is a little trick. They might not always like it, but you can always ask them if you can tag along on someone else's order. You can probably do this the last day at the fair. You can ask, okay, so I would like this material who else has bought this material, or who else is interested, what other companies have ordered this. Could I tag along on their order? It's not always popular, but it gives them it makes them understand that you mean business and that you really, really want that type of material.
But also, I mean, it's possible. Everything comes down to relationships, and everything is negotiable.
Yes,
so I mean,
yes.
there are no strict rules. Try it, ask for it. If they like you, I mean, it's possible.
And also, most of the time when they've made the material and they have the swatches and they have it means at least they've made it for the show. Or if it's a super, super new material, then they might only have made like a couple of 100 meters just to test it out. So it's not bulk production approved. You should ask this. But if it's a material that it's been in production for a while, they for sure have some leftover, some stock, or some recurring orders. And so just get in there and ask, and okay, look, say, dude, I cannot afford to order 1,000 meters because my collection is tiny, or that particular product is not my biggest selling product, but I really want to work with you. I really want to work with this material. How can we solve it? And just be on them about this, because most of the time they will help you find a way. When they see that you're on it and that you really want to work with them, they will help you out for sure.
Yeah. Two questions that we get a lot different versions of is how to find the right fabric, and how to know I get the right quality, good quality. And I mean, there are two different questions. The first one is, I'd say, as we said before, you need to know what you need to use it for. What's the end usage of your product? What are you going to use it for? What performance criteria do you have? And also, when you go to a fair, I mean, use that they are the experts. Ask them, okay, I want a product that can do this. It should be breathable, stretchy, lightweight. And they can tell you, okay, this is what we have that fulfill those criteria. So just ask them. You don't have to know everything yourself, but if you know what you wanted to achieve, then you come a long way.
For sure, yeah.
And the second way about quality?
I mean, when it comes to quality, of course, if it's a silk material, it totally depends on the fiber. If it's 100% silk, you'll feel it. Then if it's like a cheap 100% polyester material, but also it will reflect in the hand feel. It will reflect on when you look at it. You will see what feels qualitative and what not. Most of all, you'll see it on the price tag, but it depends. Again, it's not about the good quality or bad quality. It depends on, is it the right material for your intended product? Because sometimes it's just plain stupid to buy a crazy expensive, super high quality material if it's intended for the wrong product. And also something you can do is to ask them about, okay, I found this stretchy material. I intend it to be used for, I don't know, a pair of leggings. And then you tell them what, if it's a running tie, if it's a yoga tie, if it's a whatever. And then you ask them, okay, I see here in your range that you have 3, 4, 5 roughly similar type of products or materials. What is the quality difference? If I really want durability, which one should I pick? And also, they always do tests on their materials. So ask them for the test results. If you want a material to be super waterproof or super durable or super whatever, just ask them about the test results, and they should provide you with this information.
And on top of that, you should allow in your own schedule to test your own products. Once you get your first samples, testing just for the usage that you are intending it's using for. So it's super important, because it might be worn in a special area that they haven't thought of before. And so just test yourself.
And also order as many samples as you possibly can, and then make, instead of one sample, make 2-3 samples and test those out and see how they perform, and just get educated on how I keep doing this. Just get educated on the materials, how they feel, and look at them, how they drape. Sometimes in the fairs they have tiny swatches. Order 1 meter, or ask them to send you a bigger swatch so you can see the drape, so you can see how it washes, so you can see how it performs. If you sew small mock-ups, maybe some materials are almost impossible to use when you sew them. If you buy this type of material, your manufacturer is going to hate you for it. Probably sometimes they're just going to refuse to use it because it is so complicated to work with. You need to know all these things, and you need to test it out, or at least get a couple of meters or yards, and just test it out and see how it works, because you need to have different options that you test out and that you see how they drape, how they work, and that's the only way you can know if it's high quality, good quality for your intended product.
And also, quality is relative. What you think is a good quality might not be the same for another person, so that's why it's important to test it yourself. I mean, I think written about it in our book.
Mm-hmm.
It's what is quality, and it's such a vague term. So you have to know what your quality criteria are before you start asking for a specific quality.
I mean, there's so many luxury brands using $3 per yard fabrics. Yes. So it all depends.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Are there other ways to source than going to fabric fairs? Yes. You can source through your manufacturer. Most of the manufacturer can help you out with this service, and we think it's a good idea. If the manufacturer says, nope, sorry, we will never do that, we would then recommend you maybe not work with them, because then something's not really right. Most of the manufacturers, of course, have really good relationship with some suppliers, and this is also good for you, because if they have good relationship with certain suppliers, they can help you out to get maybe lower quantities. They can help you out with the price. They can help you maybe even with material that sits on stock and certain things. So it is a good idea to work with the manufacturer that can help you out. And the same thing applies here. First, you need to know what you want. You need to know the rough price of the end product, then you calculate backwards. And then you need to know what the material is gonna do for your product. And if you have competitor products or swatches, just give them this, and then they can send the swatch out to their suppliers and source for you, and then they will send swatches to you before. And sometimes working with the manufacturer directly is pretty good, because they will edit for you. They will help you out with getting rid of all the materials that don't work for price, for minimum or for minimum quantity issues, or even for quality, because they will know this, and so they will just like clean it up for you and just give you a couple of options. It would just make your life easier.
And if you're a member in our member zone, you can of course go to our database and search hundreds of suppliers right in there. And another way is to work with agents. And an agent can help you source different suppliers. It's easier. You typically get a fast response. They can help you push for answer and take a lot of work, help you out with a lot of work, so it just gets smoother. But here I would recommend you to ask you what their deal with the supplier is. And typically, I mean, they have to earn their living. So are they getting a percentage?
Of course they do. Most agents do.
Yeah,
most good agents do.
Usually it doesn't affect you. The cut is taken from the supplier's price.
Side.
But in theory, that's maybe the room you have to negotiate a lower price yourself. So you just have to weigh, do you need, can you spend all the time yourself contacting the suppliers, and will it help you a lot to have an agent? And so there's no right or wrong, but it's a good way. If you get a contact with an agent, absolutely try it out.
And also it's personal, it's about relationships. If you find an amazing agent that you love and that's all in for your business and it's doing everything he or she possibly can to help you out, to negotiate the prices, to make sure you don't have to wait for the long lead times, to push, to get you the lab dips faster, then yes, it's worth both your time and effort and money to spend that extra bit of money and time and effort with an agent than going directly with a supplier. We've worked with really horrible agents and with some amazing agents. So for us, sometimes it's, of course, because the agents are most of the time one in your country or area. And so it all comes down to your relationship and to the chemistry that you have and to how much they fall for your brand and your concept, how much they dig you, how much you bring them in, and what your deal is together. But yes, agents are fantastic, and most of the time they're easy to work with because of course they want to help you. That's their, otherwise they are not in business. And if they're in your country or in your area, you will have the same time zone. You'll be in the same time zone, so you'll be able to talk to them on the phone instead of waiting for, doing weird hours with Asia or with US or with wherever they set.
And since it comes down to relationships, they might have been building up their relationship for 10 years, 20 years, you don't know. And so you really have a way in when you work with them. They might push the right buttons with the fabric supplier, and they might do all the travel, go there and talk to them. So it will save you time.
Even check quality issues and things. They will be your little soldiers. So if you find a good agent, keep them.
Yes. And let's see, how to find out about trade fairs and marketplaces. And
this is a really good question, since we just wrote a blog post about this.
Yeah, we made it a link. If you're looking at Instagram, if you click on the bio links, there it says fabric fairs, and you can just get a list of fabric fairs 2019 and 2020 all over the world. So with links to those fairs websites, so you can check them out and see which one suits you. And if you are on Facebook, we're sending live both on Instagram and on Facebook right now. We're going to post a link to it, or just go to our website, apparelentrepreneurship.com, and to the blog section, you're going to find it there.
So the post name is Fashion Trade Shows and Sourcing Fairs 2019. And of course, many of them are recurring. So it's not only for 2019, they will probably be again next year and the year after, but you'll have to check their websites and see the exact dates.
And yeah, we're going to mention it again. We mentioned it in the beginning, but there's a fair in New York, the Functional Fabric Fair in New York at Javits Center. Monday, Tuesday.
So 22nd, 23rd, and I will be holding an expert talk there on how to optimize your brand for growth. And it's at 2:30. So if you're in the area, it's
free.
And it's free again. Yes, you register for free. You can source amazing functional fabrics. They're one of the best fabrics. They have them in Europe. They have them in US, and it's a very selected supplier list that's there. So one of the best supplier lists, and it just, even if you're in fashion and if you want to transition into function and performance, it would be a really good idea just to learn more. And also, the outdoor industry and the performance industry is way ahead when it comes to sustainability. So just to ask the suppliers questions about sustainability and what the latest innovation is. Just because of that, I would recommend you to go and just to educate yourself as much as you can. We had a question regarding, just so we don't end this before answering the question, on if the manufacturers are abroad, if you cannot find a manufacturer that can help you with manufacturing and sourcing, is it still sustainable to do it abroad? Of course. I mean, Even if it's abroad, you're helping that community grow, and you're helping that area with jobs. But it depends if you're gonna fly the stuff. It depends what your materials are. It depends what type of manufacturer you're using. But for us to put a product to life that has a reason, and it's a meaningful product with a good concept that serves a purpose, and has a purpose in your, of course, at your brand, and also for a particular customer, and there's a customer need, then of course it does not, I shouldn't say it doesn't matter, but of course it's better that you produce a high quality garment that will last in a good, with good craftsmanship, than if you would produce something locally that's not so bad, or that's not so good, and it will fall apart, or so we would say, yes, totally go for it. Make sure the manufacturer, and you know what type of products they're making, of course, and you can get references. Preferably you've been there as well. If you haven't, preferably go and check them out. See what their sustainability targets are. Do they have sustainability priority? Yes. If they don't,
I would recommend that you listen to our podcast episode about sustainability, because when it comes to sustainability,
number 4.
I wouldn't promise that. It might be. And anyway, I just want to say it's so much more than just one aspect when it comes to sustainability. Location is just one aspect. Then you have the transport, you have the quality, you have the water usage. There's so many things. So when it comes to sustainability, you have to find what you think is important and what's important to your brand. And as Anna said, in the case, it might be further to transport, but then they must just be better quality. And that's also an aspect of sustainability. So read up a bit about sustainability and listen to the podcast just to get a different perspective on it.
And a couple of final words. Again, just to wrap it up, prepare. Know exactly what you're looking for. Check out the website before. See what suppliers you might want to meet. Bring with you your business cards. Do not forget your business cards. Know your pitch. Just train it in. Know your elevator pitch. Like if someone would wake you up in the middle of the night, you should know it instantly. And tell them your story, why you want it. Tell them, know roughly what your product is supposed to do. And bring competitor garments, bring swatches with you. Even ask them for color cards if they have that. And ask them, we have several posts on the website about questions that you can ask just to get them warmed up and to get you warmed up as well on in the conversation. But tone down the thing that you're a startup. As we mentioned, it's not always a good thing to talk about. And do not start a conversation about a fabric. How much does this cost? That's quite rude. They will not take you seriously, because it means that it is just rude. So you should not do that. Especially Italians hate that. Most of the time, Italians want you to wait when you've gotten the relationship going. So preferably order as much samples and swatches as you possibly can. So you have a plan B, C, D, whatever. If you find a really good swatch of fabric, see what other similar swatches and fabrics you can find in that vein. If you find 20, order all those. And another little trick that the suppliers are really kind of tricky with, let's say you bring up your swatch deck with you that you've taken from the racks, and you're like, yeah, these are the ones I would like to order. Make sure you take a picture of all the swatches, because you might not swatch them, sit there and be like on top of them when they write them down. If they kind of sense that you're not super, like you're not a big company, they might not write everything on.
Yeah, I've seen it so many
they will-
times. You see a client bringing this pile of fabric swatches, and when I want them to write down, and they're just, the client's looking away, not looking interested, and the supplier sees that, so just skips through them and not writing down that one.
And so they're not going to send it to you.
No, they're going to waste money sending it to you.
No, because of course, for them to send you swatches, it costs them money in the shipping and the swatches in themselves and the handling of it all. So make sure you take pictures of everything, because it might happen so that your most favorite swatch that you actually want to use, that they might not send it to you, and then you lose time. So take a picture of it, or even note everything down, like note all the article numbers down on a piece of paper, because then when you get the delivery and you're flipping through, you're like, well, dude, I'm missing 10 pieces. And then you can contact them and you're like, hello, where are my 10 other swatches? You haven't sent them. What's going on? And so then they know that you're being, really that you want this, and that you're not just ordering for the ordering sake.
Yeah, I think that's all we have for today. We've been going for half an hour here.
It would be awesome to meet you guys at the fair, at the Functional Fabric Fair at Javits Center on Monday, just to chat with you and to give you a hug, because we're sweet, so we like to hug, and just, to hear about your businesses and your brands and what you're up to, and to help you out. If you have any questions when you're there, I'm there, so I'll be more than glad to help you with questions and whatever you need.
Yeah, and we'll be back soon. And you know where to find us. And again, if you want to know where all the fairs are, just click the link at our website or in the bio links to Fabric Fairs, and you're going to see the list of fairs all over the world that you can check out. Okay.
Great.
Take
care, guys. It's been a pleasure, and thanks for being here with us today.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
Ciao.